Great. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today for this webinar about food security initiatives at United Way BC. My name's Laura Katawaki, and I'm a research and knowledge mobilization specialist for the Healthy Aging team. So very happy to be hosting this webinar today. So before we get started, I'd like to do a land acknowledgement. United Way acknowledges the homelands of the Indigenous peoples of this place we now call Canada and honors the many territorial keepers of the lands on which we work. Today am working from home, so I am wanting to acknowledge that I'm working today on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coquitlam First Nation, and would like to thank the Coquitlam who continue to live on these lands and care for them, along with the waters and all that is above and below. A few housekeeping notes before we begin the webinar. So during the webinar, the audience will be muted, but feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box if you'd like. For example, you could put in your name, your pronouns, organization, or territories you're calling from, whatever you feel comfortable sharing. You can also turn on the automatic closed captioning feature if you would like to use that by pressing the CC button at the bottom of your screen in the Zoom toolbar. There will be a question period at the end of this webinar, so feel free to ask questions in the Q&A box during the webinar or to put questions in the chat. And the webinar is being recorded and will be posted on Healthy Aging Core, and the slides will also be made available. Before we get started and talk about the work that United Way BC's food security team is doing, I did just want to briefly talk about the topic of healthy eating and food security as it relates to older adults. Some of you might have attended our provincial summit on aging that we hosted in November 2026. Oh, sorry, November of 2024. And during that session, there was a World Cafe, and we discussed different challenges and issues and priorities for the community-based senior services sector. And food security, of course, emerged as an important one. And we do know from the agencies that we work with across BC that, especially I think with the rising cost of living, tariffs and other challenging economic situations within Canada and globally, this has been an issue of increasing concern for many low-income seniors. And for the programs that we have available currently through our Healthy Aging portfolio, there are several that do help to support healthy eating and food security for older people. And that includes, for example, our Better at Home program, which can provide services like grocery and meal delivery. We also have social meal enhancement grants, which are available to organizations so they can provide both healthy, nutritious meals, but also opportunities for social engagement. So that might look like a lunch program for seniors, or it could be something like having a volunteer go visit an isolated senior and have a healthy meal with them. We also have our TAPS program, which is Therapeutic Activation Program for Seniors. And this program provides an opportunity for seniors who are isolated or face barriers to participating in programming, the opportunity to engage in group activities and also have a healthy meal and develop social connections. So there's a number of different ways that we currently are showing up in the space of food and healthy eating. But United Way BC has many different departments and many different programs beyond the healthy aging programs. So we thought it would be a good opportunity through this webinar to learn about some of the other work that's being done by the organization and specifically by our food security team, as they have complementary programs that help to support seniors as well as other populations with food security and food programs. So that's what we'll be learning about today. So I'm going to introduce our presenters now. So we have three presenters. Two of our presenters are from United Way BC's food security team. And the first presenter, Ingrid Maya, she is the project coordinator for food security, and she oversees 16 community food hubs across the Lower Mainland, Sea to Sky, and Fraser Valley. With a background in nonprofit coordination and community engagement, Ingrid is passionate about building inclusive, community-driven food systems that prioritize dignity, connection, and access for all. We also have Chloe Leslie from the food security team, who is also a project coordinator, and she has worked within the food security space for over 5 years with a specialization in logistics and last mile transportation. And we also have a presenter from one of our partner agencies, Sharon Dong, who's the Director of Development and Food for Families from City Reach Care Society. City Reach Care Society is a registered Canadian charity supporting 4,500 individuals each week with distributions in 3 cities across 6 distributions. Food security and building community is their specialty, and they're proud to be a part of the 5 United Way BC regional community food hubs. And in addition to meeting immediate needs, they also advocate for systemic changes to move the needle on food security. So without further ado, then, I am now going to hand over the webinar to our presenters and let them share their slides.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. Thanks, Laura, for the introduction. My name is Ingrid once again, and I'm going to be presenting along with Chloe a little bit more about the work that we do. But I want to start just doing a little quick land acknowledgement, and I want to share that I'm joined from the Musqueam and Squamish Tassiliu people territory, and in this land I play, I work, and I love to live on, and for that I'm very grateful. Oh, sorry, I'm not passing the slides. 1 second. Apparently.
I can help, Ingrid.
Can you please? Oh, thank you, because I couldn't find the arrow over here. Oh, thank you. Really appreciate it. And then the agenda for today, we're gonna go over a little bit of food security and at United Way, and I'll be covering the topic about the regional community food hubs. And then Chloe will cover the topic for FoodLink and Data Hub, and then we're gonna have our amazing guest speaker, Sharon Dong. We're working together for many years now, and I'm very excited that she's gonna be here sharing the partnership that we have and the impact of the work that we do together. Now I'm gonna pass it over to Chloe.
Hi everyone, my name is Chloe Leslie. I use she, her pronouns, and I am joining today also from the unceded territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh people. Happy to be here today. If we get to the next slide, I can start chat to you a little bit about FoodLink. And next slide, please. Oh, that's good. Oh, thank you. Perfect. So at UWBC, we do have 3 different food security programs. So we have our food security infrastructure grants, which some of you may have applied for or received in the past. So that's supporting with infrastructure such as fridges, such as cold storage, such as vehicles to transport our food around. And we have, that is a stream that is a smaller team for us, and they're able to provide those grants for not just organizations within our immediate network, but wider organizations across the province as well. We then have our regional community food hubs team, which Ingrid is going to speak more on, as well as our FoodLink platform, which I'm going to touch on too. Next slide, please.
Okay, so now I'm going to share a little bit of a history of the regional community food hubs. When COVID hit on, it was what, 2020, I would say, like the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, we started to get lots of calls from the community asking for support. So first day of lockdown, 7 a.m., South Vancouver Neighborhood House gave us a call saying, hey, we have 75 people lining up outside. They need food. What should we do now? And then we were very responsive to the need of the community. So on the same day, we had over 50 organizations giving us a call saying we need help. We don't know what to do. People are requesting for food and everything is shut. So we started to be supporting the community with like sandwich, soups, with grocery. Also, we had families from the school saying the schools are shut. How our kids are going to be fed right now? So there was a lot going on, and we tried to be the most like responsive as possible on that moment. Next slide, please. And then that's when we actually started with our regional community food hub program. We started with a pilot of 6 hubs at that moment. So it was one in Abbotsford, one in Burnaby, downtown East Side, North Pempenden, South Vancouver, and Surrey. It was just a pilot, and the goal and the focus for this regional community food hub, it was to address the needs of the community, to be very responsive to the needs of the community. And that could be like investing in programs that foster for dignity, equity, and food justice, shifting from the traditional food banking to more like a market style. Also like building skills and knowledge sharing around food and building a community infrastructure for local production. So those are a little bit of the focus for the food hub, but they also share the storage, they share spaces, they share trucks. And that's when everything started in 2020. Yeah, 2020. Sorry. Next slide, please. And something that I really love about the regional community food hub, I already mentioned, but it's very responsive to the need of the community. And I love this phrase that says the regional community food hubs strengthen vital connection and create an ecosystem of care that all of the community members have access to nurturing food that they need. Because food can be something very different for each person, to each individual, because of the culture. And this is something very special about the food hubs, because they really try to address the need for that specific community, which can be very different for each individual. Next slide, please. And I just want to make sure before I hand over in a little bit for Chloe, that everyone understand what is the Regional Community Food Hub. It's basically a network of community partners working together to improve food access across British Columbia. And like I said, that can be very different for each community because of the culture of each community. And the model that we have right now is the steward and spoke model. So we have a steward that is going to be this main organization that is going to be in contact with United Way, doing all the like paperwork and connecting with us. But this specific steward is not working alone. They have a network of spokes that work together and they share knowledge. They share the truck that I mentioned, the storage, they share food, and they are working together to support that specific community. So it's something very responsive to the community need. It's very unique. It's not a regular food bank. And it's very special, honestly. Right now, next slide, please. We have 29 food hubs across British Columbia. We started with 6, and now we're up to 29. We are done with expansion at this moment. Not planning to expand, but we are planning to sustain all the hubs that we have. We are gonna add one more in Kelowna really soon. Then we're gonna be stopping from at the 30. But have in mind that this is only the hubs that I'm mentioning. I'm not mentioning the spokes organization under all of those organizations. So it's a huge like network that is going on. Many individuals being support through the Food Hub program. And the most important part is to remember that this is all for the community, right? So right now, like I can share some numbers with you, but last year, the Regional Community Food Hub provides over 3.1 million meals. It's a lot. It's lots of individuals, lots of families that are being support across the province. And we are very excited about it. Maybe you're asking yourself, like, how can I be involved? Like I said, we're not planning to expand to new hubs, but you can be connected with the hubs that we already have established. So that's an option for you. Next slide, please.
Awesome. Thank you, Ingrid. I'm going to now chat a little bit about FoodLink by United Way BC. So initially, FoodLink was developed to streamline the coordination of surplus food donations to ensure that that food reaches those who need it most quickly and efficiently. Since then, we have done some pivoting and we have expanded this initiative to focus not only on food donations, but on last mile delivery through our partnership with DoorDash. And I'm going to touch about that a little bit more throughout this presentation. FoodLink has also expanded to include data analysis and data support for the distribution and redistribution of food for our hubs and our spokes. We are still doing some food recovery work, but that is just a small portion of our overall portfolio. The majority of our work right now is focused on that last mile delivery, so making sure that food can go from our hubs or spokes or any community organization throughout the province, and it can be transported directly to the end user, so the client or the family who needs to receive the food. This program is set up to ensure that regardless of mobility, regardless of transportation, regardless of health impacts, anyone can receive their food through our partnership with DoorDash. So essentially the DoorDash drivers pick up the food, whether that's a hamper or a prepared meal from a community agency, and deliver it directly to the client's home. They can deliver to apartments, they can deliver to senior living areas, they can deliver to front steps as well. So that's kind of been our main focus around the FoodLink initiative, because we've found that it's been very successful, and it was an area that we found was a high impact and high need as well. A lot of our hubs and spokes had clients who were not able to necessarily come to their site due to various barriers, and this has helped ensure that those people are still able to access their local food support organization. We can go to the next slide. So here was kind of our original plan where we're still able to, point is about our original plan where we're able to connect surplus food with those in need with our nonprofit organizations. As I mentioned, since then we have done some pivoting and some expansion, but this is still a part of our work. We want everyone to note that we are provincial, so we don't necessarily have connections with food suppliers in every single area throughout the province. We are doing our best to expand. And when we do hear food donations, we're able to connect with our network of hubs and spokes, which has been really great. So we work closely with the RCFH team in that regard. We can go to the next slide. As mentioned, these are we're working with DoorDash directly. So these are the areas that we have that DoorDash operates in right now. We're in almost all of these areas and looking to continue working in throughout the province. So we are expanding this partnership as well. The DoorDash drivers are able to come directly to the organization, as I mentioned, and deliver to the client's home. It is within a 10 kilometer radius, and it can even go up to a 15-kilometer radius, but potentially with a scaled back number of deliveries available per organization. And I can touch a little bit about that more as we go forward. But DoorDash, as you might imagine, is in more densely populated areas, but we have had a lot of success in smaller communities as well. So if you're not sure if DoorDash operates in your community, please feel free to reach out to us and we would be happy to let you know and happy to get you set up if DoorDash does operate in that area. Next slide, please. Thanks. Yeah, so FoodLink has expanded provincially. And as I noted before, we're not just focused on food recovery at all. FoodLink is like a larger platform. So we do have some regular donations. With that being said, we are also doing some community engagement to prepare for emergency activation. DoorDash can be helpful in emergency activation and emergency planning because it is very agile. An interesting example is that from my house in Vancouver, I can dispatch a DoorDash driver in anywhere as far as Prince George and have that driver go and collect food and deliver to someone's house within about 30 minutes. So it's a really interesting and agile project in that way. It also, DoorDash is, really great because it doesn't have to just be food that we transport. It can be any sort of like household goods, anything that could fit in kind of a standardized vehicle, a standard sedan can be transported in that way. So we have used it with our Period Promise campaign. We've used it with some emergency preparedness and as well as our food network. And now we are excited to have one of our close partners, City Reach Care Society, talk to us about their programming.
Thank you, Chloe. Good morning. I'm pleased to introduce you to City Reach Care Society, a registered Canadian charity that's been serving our community for over 20 years. While we're often recognized for our work in food security, our mission goes beyond food. At City Reach, we are committed to creating community, meeting people where they are and walking with them on their unique journeys towards wholeness. Next slide. City Reach is proud to be part of United Way's Regional Community Food Hub Network. We are one of 5 hubs across the region. We support 4,500 individuals each week in East Vancouver, South Vancouver, Tri-Cities, and Surrey. Since 2020, our organization has grown 30 times in size, but even with that growth, we still can't meet the rising needs of our community. Next slide. We hear this directly from the community we serve. They tell us things are getting harder. Rising food and housing costs, inflation, increased financial pressure are pushing many families and individuals into crisis. And often food is the first thing to go. You can't skip things like rent, medication, or transportation. Next slide. Seniors now make up 15% of our program. That's nearly 700 individuals. These are individuals that we've built relationships with over the past years, people who rely on us for more than just food. They need fresh, whole, and nutrient-dense food to maintain their health, but just as importantly, they need the connection and the dignity. Next slide. The beauty of the Food Hub model is the focus on community. Many seniors tell us they feel overlooked in society, but at City Reach, they are seen, valued, and supported by volunteers they know and trust. And being close to home matters. Many can no longer carry heavy bags or afford the transportation to access the food. That's why localized community-based support is critical. Next slide. We're deeply grateful for the partnership with United Way, which supports us end-to-end. 100% of the food is recovered surplus. Some of that food is accessed through the FoodLink platform and supported by the team. We receive beautiful donations like fresh portobello mushrooms and other produce. The Food Hub model encourages collaboration between frontline organizations, and the DoorDash project brings the logistics food delivery directly to people's doors. Next slide. So let me tell you a story that captures what all this work is about. A 91-year-old woman has been part of our program for years. She used to take long transit rides just to access food, but as time has passed, her strength has declined, but she never gave up, but her body just couldn't keep up. And living on a fixed income, she couldn't afford to lose the support. So that's why Project Dash changed everything. Now, nutritious food arrives at our door every week free of charge. It's not just about food, it's about dignity, compassion, and being seen. And I just wanted to end this presentation saying that all this work is possible because of our incredible volunteers. And I wanted to share that many of our volunteers are seniors. These are vibrant, passionate individuals who show up each week to serve others. They bring their skills, their leadership, and heart to make City Reach a place of joy, service, and connection. At City Reach, we believe in the power of community-led care. It's showing up for one another, reminding each person we serve, you're seen, you're valued, and you're never alone. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much to our presenters for that introduction to the work that's being done by the food security team and also by the partners they're working with. So I think we can do some questions now, and I see we already have some in the chat. Wingsy, maybe if you want to stop the slide share, and I can bring up some of these questions to our presenters. So one of the first questions that we have is from Peggy, and she has asked about the FoodLink app, saying that she's been having trouble using it in Vernon and she wants to connect food service providers to use it. So she's wondering if there's somebody that she can connect with about that. And then she also had a question about whether for the deliveries that are being done, general volunteers can deliver, or if it's just DoorDash who's being used to do the deliveries.
Great question. I can touch on those. Yeah, so our FoodLink team has undergone some changes and we are no longer using the FoodLink app. So it is currently on pause and therefore not accessible to download or to use on our smartphones. With that being said, as I mentioned, we've really pivoted to using our last mile delivery, and that's been our team's focus as we found that that was a great need when we had reached out to our hubs and our spokes, was that last mile delivery. So to answer your question, we are able to dispatch drivers in Vernon. We've worked with a couple organizations in the area to ensure that seniors and other folks facing maybe mobility or transportation challenges are still able to access their food support. This program does use the DoorDash drivers. So essentially how it works is that we're asking any agencies that are interested get onboarded with us. From there, they're able to send us a client list for when they want food to be delivered, and we're able to dispatch those drivers at the time and date that they request. It can be agile and work with a volunteer model in the fact that it is quite responsive. So if you have a team of volunteers that are doing your deliveries, and for example, especially in the summer, we know that sometimes volunteers are a little bit less available. So if you know that tomorrow there's going to be 2 absent volunteers, we're able to quickly dispatch drivers for those routes that are missing. We can even do that on the same day. So if you have a volunteer that doesn't show up, we're able to kind of fill that gap with this program. So that's one way we've also implemented this program into our network, is by kind of filling in for volunteer gaps. With that being said, we're also happy to have it be a regular reoccurring deliveries that take place every week, every month, whatever that might be. As we heard from Sharon, it could be really helpful for seniors, as sometimes they can be homebound, or it can be challenging for them to take public transit, to drive, etc. So any seniors are eligible for this program that are interested, as long as it's in an area where DoorDash is operational and they live within 10 kilometers of your site. I hope that makes sense. In terms of the FoodLink app, again, it is on pause right now and not available for use, unfortunately.
Great, thank you for that additional information. We have a few questions in the Q&A box, so I'll go to there. So one of the questions is from Danielle: does the government of BC partner with and/or provide funding to United Way BC on any of these programs?
Can answer that one. So SDPR does support this program. So the program, like the regional community food hubs, is run by donor dollars, like United Way donor dollars, and also SDPR support.
All right, great, thank you. And then we also have a question about whether there'll be food hub funding available in the future for northern and rural and remote communities.
Sorry, for food hub funding?
Yeah,
I
food
think,
hub funding.
yeah, Ingrid maybe can answer that in terms of our expansion.
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the presentation, we are not planning to expand at this point. We are planning to make the hubs that we already have more sustainable. So there's no expansion plan because we started with 6 hubs. Now we're expanding up to 30 very soon, but then we're gonna pause for a second and try to make more sustainable, focus on the ones that we already have, make them more stronger.
Okay, thank you. And then there's a question about the DoorDash. So I love the idea of a partnership with a food delivery service like DoorDash. How did this partnership come about? And are the drivers paid for the deliveries through a program budget?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the partnership came about when DoorDash connected with us to see if we'd be interested in being a steward for their work throughout British Columbia on Project Dash. In terms of funding, there's a mix of funding. So partially there is some in-kind contributions from DoorDash themselves, which is very kind of them. Then there's also been contributions from our United Way BC budget, as well as from United Way Worldwide. So it's been a bit of a mishmash to try to make the program run, but we do feel like it is sustainable now we have funding for the immediate future, at least for the rest of the year, and looking to secure more as well. The drivers do get paid their exact regular rate. So the similar rate as if right now, like I ordered some food to my home and they got it delivered and I got it delivered here, the driver would be paid the same rate on their end. It just looks like a delivery, and they do get a tip as well of 20%. So they are paid. If organizations are interested in working with DoorDash, they're welcome to contact us directly. And depending on what their needs are, they can also work with DoorDash directly if their needs are greater than what we're able to offer. We can connect them directly with DoorDash and see what they can, see if they can work with them directly. And that often requires them to pay a fee to DoorDash. With that being said, it is discounted and can still be a viable option for some organizations. To clarify, any deliveries that are done through United Way BC through this program are completely free of charge to the nonprofit organization.
Thanks for sharing all that information. What a unique partnership that's been developed. So the next question that we have is, does anyone have experience with facilitating distributed food nutrition coupons available at farmers markets when there are limited transportation options?
Good question. Maybe we can open it up to folks that are attending. Since United Way BC is not necessarily doing on the ground direct distribution ourselves, I don't know if anyone on our team can answer that.
Yeah, so we'd encourage then anybody from the audience, if you want to put in anything in the chat about that, if you have any experience with food nutrition coupons for farmers markets, please feel free to share your experience there. And hopefully you'll get an answer to that, Katrina. Okay, so the next question we have is, if a community wants to get the FoodLink program, do you need a hub to exist already in your community? And this person is asking from Kamloops.
Great question. No, you do not need a hub to exist already in your community. Kamloops is a great place that we'd love to work, especially because they definitely do have the DoorDash piece there. They have quite a lot of drivers in the area, so we'd be more than happy to connect with you. I'll put some contact information of our team in the chat, so you're welcome to reach out directly. To answer your question, no, you do not need to be a hub or a spoke. This is offered to any nonprofit agency throughout British Columbia.
Okay, great. And then we have another question about the DoorDash, so lots of interest there. So Chloe, can you please speak more to the process of how we coordinate these DoorDash deliveries directly with United Way BC once our organization is onboarded? And is our organization able to communicate directly with DoorDash?
Great question. So how the process works is that you will get set up with our team directly, the United Way BC Food Security team. We'll get you onboarded. We'll have an initial meeting and discuss what your needs are and what we're able to offer. We can then get you onboarded into the DoorDash system. That's quite easy. It's just a simple form. From there, when you have DoorDash deliveries that you're hoping to dispatch, we have a templated Excel sheet with all of that information. You'll send us that and we can get that dispatched within a few hours. What we can do, if you want regular recurring weekly deliveries, we can input those same clients every single week, same time, etc. Or if they're different, we will just, we'll kind of try to meet everyone where they're at and meet your needs as best as we can. So whatever system works for you, we'll do our best to make it work. But essentially, it's a pretty straightforward process. It'll be a meeting with our team, one little form, and then an Excel template that includes all of your client information. Maybe Sharon can speak for a brief minute about her experience setting this process up.
Sure. It's exactly as Chloe said. It was very simple. And the DoorDash team has been fantastic. During the onboarding, they were there at every step just to make sure things went really smooth. And from time to time, we do have some changes, and it's very simple. It's as easy as a phone call or an email to the DoorDash team, and they make the changes, and everything goes very smoothly. It's been a very big plus for our clients. Some of them have even called us back, thanking us and saying how appreciative they are of the program.
Thanks, Sharon. And to clarify, when Sharon says DoorDash team, that's like our DoorDash project at United Way BC. So the nonprofits don't communicate directly with DoorDash themselves, but they can do all that communication through us. And we have on our system like a real-time dashboard that shows where each driver is in relation to the agency or in relation to the nonprofit. If there's issues, which sometimes do come up naturally, we can troubleshoot those as well for you. So we have a staff member kind of on deck while those deliveries are taking place, just in case there's any issues. And if there are, it's just a quick phone call and we'll do our best to troubleshoot. If there's an issue where a driver doesn't show up, something of that nature, we can also just dispatch another one. So we try our best to come in and help out when we can.
Wow, it sounds like that's a lot of logistics that you work through, but you must be doing a really great job, it sounds like. So kudos for coordinating all that. So we have a few comments in the chat in regards to the earlier question about the farmers market coupons and transportation. So I just want to read that out now, just to let people know that some people have noted that there's grants available actually for the farmers market coupon program for transportation. So that's something that folks can look into if you're interested and would like to provide transportation for farmers markets. And then we also had somebody re-ask the question about the northern and rural remote community food hubs. They said they missed the answer. So maybe Ingrid, if you could just repeat, the person had asked earlier about whether there was going to be an expansion to northern, rural, and remote communities.
Yeah, no problem. So I was saying that we are not planning to expand at this point. We are just planning to make the hubs that we already have more sustainable. So what we can do is trying to check. I can actually send the list of all the hubs that we have, and then you can see if there's any hubs nearby your area and see how you can be connected with them. We can connect straight with them, see if there's any partnership available.
Yeah, thank you. That would be great. We can send that out after the webinar. And I see there's another comment about that farmers market coupon program and the transportation grant. And somebody said that it looks like that grant might be at capacity, but they've included a link where you can find the application so people can look into that if they'd like. And then if it's at capacity, hopefully you could apply for it next year. So that's a program that isn't operated by United Way BC, so we don't have any further information about those transportation grants for the food, the farmers market food coupons. But we'll send out the link to that with the webinar materials as well, and then if people want to look into that themselves, feel free. All right, and so we have another question At Chilliwack Community Services, we support many clients who are facing food insecurity, and for many of them, mobility limitations create an additional barrier to accessing nutritious food. I love to explore potential collaboration with the food bank to arrange for the pickup and delivery of fresh fruits and vegetables for seniors in need. This partnership could make a meaningful difference in their well-being and quality of life. So I'm not sure if there's a specific question there, but I guess if anybody has any suggestions about how a collaboration with the food bank might be supported for the pickup and delivery of fresh fruits and vegetables for seniors.
Great question. I don't know if we work with the food bank in Chilliwack directly. Ingrid, do you have anything to add to that?
I think they just started a partnership, not 100% sure. Oh, she meant with DoorDash. Is that correct?
Oh,
Oh,
sorry. Yeah, we'd be happy to. I'll put my contact information of our team in the chat right now. Yeah, we'd be happy to set up a conversation. We're more than happy to support with delivery. The partnership really does work best for delivery of hampers or meals directly to clients' homes. That's what it's intended to be for. So if that's something that could support your work, we're more than happy to discuss that. We have had success in DoorDash with Chilliwack as well, so we know that it already does work. Yeah, happy to expand on that as well. I'm going to go ahead right now and put the food link emails into the chat. Sorry.
All right, great. Thank you for that response and for sharing the contact information. And so I just did want to go back to an earlier question that was asked in the webinar chat. And this one Sharon had answered, and the question had been about the number of clients who are supported. And she said it was 4,500 individuals each week, and every week 50% is through direct distribution and 50% is to support social purpose organizations to amplify their programming. And I was wondering, Sharon, would you be able to tell us a little bit more about the food and support that's being provided to those social purpose organizations?
Yeah, so that was an intentional direction that our organization took. We realized some of the individuals accessing food are facing multiple barriers, and working together with our community partners was an effective way of helping those individuals move through those barriers. So if we just give them food, that's just one support. But for example, if we work with the neighborhood house down the street, they could be providing language supports, skill supports, and other supports. So together, it's pooling all the resources of the community through the food hub and seeing how we can support individuals. Because if we can alleviate them out of their situation or out of poverty, then we can help the next person. So it's a strategic and community approach to working together.
Great, thanks for providing that additional context. So I see we don't currently have any additional questions in the Q&A or chat, but I'll just give folks another minute in case there's any additional questions people do want to ask. There's been a lot of great questions so far, so thank you very much for all of your questions. And as was noted, we have the emails for the Food Link members if anybody would like to contact them. And then we'll also send out some of the links that were shared in the chat and the information, as well as the slides and the recording. But we'll just give a last minute in case there's any final questions. Otherwise, I think we can actually end a little bit early and give you back some time. Oh, I do see there's one more question. Is there a possibility of a reboot for the FoodLink Food Share Initiative or a recommendation for communities to effectively share their excess?
Good question. Yes, that could be coming. Our team is kind of undergoing some changes and shifts right now in our water organization and both on the food security team. So I would say that there definitely is, but might take some time. And when that time comes, we'll be happy to reach out. Yeah, at the moment, I would be happy. Peggy will connect with you maybe directly and see if we can work directly with your organization to come up with a solution for sharing excess in your community. yeah, but right now there's not kind of a one size fits all solution. So maybe we can connect directly with you, myself and Serbi on our team.
All right, great, perfect. All right, in that case, if there aren't any further questions, I think it's time now for us to thank our presenters for the wonderful information that they've provided today. I think based on the number of questions alone, we can see there's obviously a lot of interest in the topic of food security and also the current work that's being done by the food security team as well as their partners. So thank you so much for being willing to share your insights today with us. I think the audience has really appreciated it. And we also really appreciate the work that all of you are doing.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, well, I hope everyone
Great.
has a great day and we will close off the webinar now. Take care, everyone.